Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, March 30th, and let's take a look at last night's games. All right, first one, nope, that is not a mistake. Port Huron handled the Binghamton Black Bears with ease, 4-1, and it was it was a little shocking, but uh, Port Huron played a very sound game. They kept Binghamton to the outside. There's a lot of shots there, as you can see, 40 shots, but they were all pretty easy shots for the most part. Makar Sokolov played very well, made the saves he had to make. Came up with a couple of really big ones. But Vincent DeCumbus, he gets the Prowlers on the board at 15:44 with a shorthanded goal. One of two shorthanded goals on the night. In the second, right from the get-go, first shift, Liam Freeborn, he scores, and that would end up being the game winner. That put Port Huron up 2-0. In the third, Jake Vaughn. He gets his first professional goal. Congratulations to Jake. And he scores a 2:15. It's 3-1. Port Huron ended up in a shorthanded situation, down 5-3. Port Huron had a 5-on-3 power play. Reverse that. And Dakota Bond somehow scores a shorthanded goal. I don't personally remember seeing a shorty scored in a 5-on-3 situation, but maybe it's happened before. So Binghamton breaks a shutout, but Tucker Scantlebury closes out the scoring at 17:28, and it's a 4-1 Port Huron victory. They got the majority of the grade A chances, even though the SOGs are a little lopsided. So Port Huron, they get a good hold on third place now. Mississippi losing. So Port Huron probably going to be playing Carolina in the playoffs. They are 25-20-6. Binghamton 33-9-7, now on a 3-game bender. So interesting. So Freeborn with that game-winning goal, and Sokolov stops 39 out of 40 shots. McAnanima saves 20 of 24. All right, so one of the big games in the Empire Division was between the Watertown Wolves and the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Watertown is fighting for their playoff lives, and Danbury is trying to crawl into that second seed to get home ice advantage in the playoffs. And they started off really well, taking a 3-0 lead, goals by McKittrick, and then in the second period, 2 goals by William Barry. But Barry wasn't done. We'll see later on. Now, Watertown did try to make a game of it, get a power play goal from Carter Thornton, but that was countered by Kyle Gonzalez scoring. Good to see Gonzo back in the score sheet after the year he's had, and he's been out on IR most of the year. Carter Thornton scores again on the power play at 19:49, so it is 4-2 at the end of 2. But then, Danbury, as they often do, score goals in bunches, and they got the hat trick from William Barry. And then just a little bit later, Colby Johnson scores his first professional goal. And so another first goal last night. So that's pretty cool. And then Watertown trying to stay in it, get a couple goals, one from Declan Flanagan and one from Alexander Gamzatov. But Corey Cunningham adds the exclamation point with an empty netter at 16:50. Yeah, it was early, but Watertown was really trying to get back into it. So we ended up with a 7-4 scores. Shots were pretty even. It was all Danbury in the first, 16-7. But then Watertown started getting some pressure on, and they made Taylor Joseph work for his victory. Um, so for the game, Carter Thornton, two power play goals and an assist. Gamzadov, a goal and assist. And Kozlowski, he was pulled after the Colby Johnson goal. So in 47-14, he surrenders 6 on 40 shots. William Barry with the hat trick. And Colby Johnson not only had his first goal, but he also had an assist. So good night for him. And Taylor Joseph saves 40 of 44. So Danbury improves to 30, 17, and 5. Watertown now 17, 28, and 5. Same amount of games played against Elmira, and they play Elmira tonight. That game is going to be huge. That's the game I am probably going to be watching primarily. I do check in on all the games, but yeah, that's going to be my primary focus. All right. So Columbus loses a rare game. Motor City, as I predicted, ended up finding what they needed to do to shut down Columbus, and yeah, Motor City ends up on top 4-2. And they held their own very well. Pavel Svintsov scores at 9:24 of the first to give Motor City the lead, even though they were outshot 10-4 in the first period. In the second, it's Danny Vanderweel scoring. Alexander Jemayev did get a power play goal at 4:11, but then just a few seconds later, Nicholas McGill Diaz, he counters with a goal. And so it's 3-1. Later in the period, there was an incident, and I just want to talk about it very briefly. Bersani, I believe it was Bersani, ends up falling in the crease, and Babin gave him a couple shoves. People kind of went nuts about that. It was posted on the whatchamacallit, the uncensored trash talk page. But then at the end of the game, the two of them came together, and everything was cool. So it was an incident, but it was not an incident. In the third, Cody Wickline scores to try and get Columbus back in it. It's 3-2 at this point. But then, again, another quick response. Just 23 seconds later, TJ Delaney scores, and Motor City holds their own. They come out with the victory, and they hold off Danbury, who also won. So Motor City still in that number 2 seed. Columbus now 41-5-3, still 3 points away from clinching the division. Motor City is 30-19-4. So Brendan Colgan takes the loss, stops 20 of 24. Babin with the win, 35 saves on the night. And Sintsov and TJ Delaney both a goal and 2 assists. And so there you go. Yeah, we don't talk about Columbus loss often, but it does happen. Nobody's going to win them all. All right, next, Blue Ridge trying to get off the snide against Carolina, and this isn't the way you do it. This is one of these games where it's like, look, you got it, you got to bring it. I mean, yes, Carolina is a very good team, but you can't give this little offensive effort and expect to win. So yeah, it's now 12-0 between Carolina and Blue Ridge, Carolina, with another shutout win. Goals by Dawson Baker in the first. There you go. There's your game winner. Shots were 16-7 in the first period. In the second, where Carolina outshot Blue Ridge 16-6. Had 2 goals by Gus Ford, and Dave Keplinger also scored. Josh Keplinger. Okay. Yeah, Dave the dad, Josh the son. So Josh Keplinger scores, And so now it's 4-0 at the end of two. So yeah, you're looking for some kind of pushback from the Bobcats, and they only put on 2 shots on goal in that final frame. Meanwhile, Tucker Firth scores on the power play, and that completes the 5-0 shutout. Connor Green, you don't get goal support, you're not going to get a win. He makes 38 saves. Meanwhile, Cody Karpinski, guess what? This is his 3rd shutout. Only goaltender in the Fed to have 3 shutouts. And only had to stop 15 shots, but you still have to stop the puck. So, Baker with the game-winning goal and 2 assists. Gus Ford with 2 more goals. Obviously, he is still leading the way with goals scored. And so there you go. And Karpinski with another win. So Carolina improves to 37-11-2. Blue Ridge 13-31-7. Trying to hold on to that 5th place spot because Baton Rouge is creeping up. And Baton Rouge mounted quite a comeback yesterday in a 5-3 victory against the Mississippi Seawolves. It was 3-0 in favor of the Seawolves early into the second period, and then it was all Baton Rouge. The ice just tipped. So, Philip Wong scores first on the power play, and then Dmitry Kuznetsov, he scores. Mississippi led shots in the first period 12-9, and getting some pressure on Bailey Stevens. Joe Shepard not having to see too much action, but then that changed in the second period. So at 1:54, Joakim Nilsson scores his first goal in quite a while. That makes it 3-0 Mississippi, and then the bottom fell out. And we're going to talk a little bit more just at the end of this too, as far as more bottom falling out. Scott Chirac scores at 3:33. Gets Baton Rouge on the board and gets the crowd at Raising Cane Center excited. Then at 1:12, just 45 seconds later or so, Noah Robinson scores. I'm sorry. No, I'm backwards. All right. So in the second period, Chirac scores. It's 3-1 at the end of 2. In the third, it's all Baton Rouge. Scott Chirac scores again, 34 seconds in. The time of the goal for the second period goal for Chirac was 3:33. I write very small, and sometimes it's hard to see. So Chirac this time scoring on the power play. That gets the Baton Rouge Zydeco within 1. And then Noah Robinson scored just 45 seconds later. And now it's tied up. Halfway through, Bradley Richardson, he gets on the board. And Baton Rouge has themselves a lead. They clamp down defensively. They keep Mississippi to the outside. Defensive effort was very good. And Bailey Stevens made a couple of big saves. Then at 1940, with Shepard pulled for the Seawolves, Chris Hansen scores the empty netter, seals the deal. And there you go. Baton Rouge wins. So on the night, I was 4-1 on the predictions, and this top one is the one that messed me up. But anyway, Mississippi now 20-24-3. Now they're locked into the 4th place position. They're in the playoffs. They're going to be taking on Columbus. But wait, there's more. Baton Rouge improves to 11-34-4. Now just 6 points behind the Bobcats, trying to see who can end up in 5th of the 2 teams. 45 shots on goal overall by Baton Rouge, and they held Mississippi to 26. Stevens gets a win, saving 23 out of 26. Shepard in 58-43 stops 39 of 43. Shots were 44, not 45 for the Zydeco. Now, a little fallout post-game. You'll remember earlier this last week, Tyson Lambert left the team, made an announcement on Facebook. And then last night, David Asselin made the exact same announcement. So yeah, there's some issues in the Mississippi locker room. So yeah, now they're down 2 players. So anyway, um, we'll keep an eye on that and see what develops. But yeah, Mississippi could be facing some other difficulties on top of not having enough offense at this point. All right, so that is last night's game. Tonight there are 5 more games, including that Elmira Watertown tilt. That's going to be the big one. So we'll be with you tomorrow to talk about it. Have a good day.